Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lewis Onjigo, and I'm the chairperson of Dbit Group 2, and I'll be joined by
Emily Maura, Patricia Angela,
Blessing Chalo.
Karaoke.
to give a presentation on report of drug and substance abuse. The objectives of this report are to know the causes and effects of drug abuse and the steps that can be taken when dealing with the matters of drug abuse. I will walk you through the introduction part. So, what is a drug? A drug is any chemical substance that changes the normal functioning of the body when taken. A drug can be legal or illegal. Legal drugs are the examples of legal drugs are prescribed medicine, alcohol, caffeine. Examples of illegal drugs are such as cocaine and heroin. A drug like cannabis can be either legal or illegal when prescribed by the doctor. Drug abuse. What is drug abuse? Drug abuse is the harmful or non-medical use of substances, including alcohol, illicit drugs, or misuse of prescribed drugs. Some of the commonly abused drugs in the global community can be classified as follows. Number one, depressants. Depressants are the drugs that slow down the brain activity by causing a relaxation effect to the central nervous system. Examples are alcohol, painkillers such as morphine, and cannabis when in low doses, which it has a mild effect. Stimulants. These are substances that speed up the nervous system. They include cocaine, cat or mirror, nicotine, and caffeine, etc. Then there are hallucinogens. These types of drugs alter how the brain perceives things. They also alter the mood and the cognitive process of the brain. Examples include cannabis when in high doses, LSD, and magic mushroom. Then there is over-the-counter drug measures. Over-the-counter drug measures. These involve the use of medically prescribed drugs such as painkillers, sedatives, or cough syrups outside medical supervision. Drug abuse has been a challenge to the community and society at large. Drug abuse has been a challenge to the community and the society at large. Many campaigns against drug abuse have been escalating, even though the rate of drug abuse is still high. The following committee was chosen to research drug abuse. They include Peter Karaoke, Lewis Onjiko, Emily Moora, Blessing Kialo, Patricia Angela. The main goal of this research was to understand why people in our community start using drugs and how it affects their daily lives. I will give this opportunity to Emily Moora to take us through the next part.
So I will handle the methods we used in our research on the drugs abuse. Number one, we used the interviews. This is where we went out there, the society. We interviewed some of those who are affected by the drugs, and they gave us the responses on how it has affected their lives. Number two, we used the observations method. This is where we sat down with those people affected by the drugs, and we observed how they behave and how the drugs has affected their lives. Number three method was the recordings. This is where we recorded how those affected by the drugs and the family members of those affected by drugs are living and how it has affected their lives. Findings: out of the members we interviewed out there in the society, we found that 40% of them are using drugs, 20% are addicted already, and 40% are people who have family members and friends who are affected by the drugs and how the drugs has affected their daily lives. I hand over to Peter to handle the causes.
I will take you through the causes of drug abuse. To point number one, we have peer pressure and peer pressure and social influence. This is the most common cause of drug abuse because of the desire to fit into one's peer group. Most of the students we spoke to, they said they felt forced to try drugs just to look cool in front of their friends. The second point is curiosity. The natural human desire to experiment on new things can cause one to want to find out the sensations caused by the drugs. We say curiosity killed the cat. Number three, we have stress and escapism. And to this, most people turn to drugs as a coping mechanism to escape stress and reality. This includes academic pressure, conflicts, trauma, or stress. Point number four, lack of awareness and misinformation. Some people turn to drugs without the information on how quickly addiction can happen. Many individuals start using painkillers and recreational substances, believing they can control the urge of usage. Effects of drug abuse. Number one, they are divided into four, which includes individual effects, family effects, effect on the society, and economic effects. We start with the individual effects. Drug abuse can cause physical health problems. That's number one. It can damage major organs such as the liver, lungs, and the heart since they are most vulnerable when it comes to intake of drugs. Abusing drugs can lead to conditions such as liver failure, respiratory problems, and heart diseases. Prolonged drug use can cause mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, memory loss. It can also affect academics or work performance because the level of concentration drops, motivation becomes low, long term goals get derailed as addiction takes place. At number two, we have family effects. When an individual indulges in drug abuse, it tends to spread to the whole family and disrupts how the whole household functions. Keeping secrets, manipulation, and deception becomes a habit thus breaking trust. There is an increased rate of conflict, neglecting responsibilities, or even theft within the home to fund the addiction. Sustaining an addiction is financially draining and can cause financial pressure on the household, leaving them struggle for basic needs such as food, education, or even a rent for shelter. Number three, we have effects on society. Drug abuse contribute to rising crime rates since the most turn since most turn to illegal activities such as theft, fraud, or violence to fund their addiction. Drug abuse also puts pressure on public facilities since the hospitals and clinics must dedicate resources to treating addiction related illnesses. Widespread during the abuse of drugs can reduce the workforce productivity since individuals struggle to maintain employment, which has negative effects on the local economy. The last one, it is economic effect. Drug abuse has consequences at a national level. Governments are forced to spend a lot of money on rehabilitation programs, law enforcement, and the healthcare sector to manage the effects of widespread drugs and substance abuse. I'll hand over to Patricia to conclude.
On to conclusions. This report confirms that drug abuse negatively affects and impacts the lives of many drug users based on the deceitful nature of the drugs abused. In conclusion, the leading causes are peer pressure, curiosity, stress, and a lack of awareness. The effects of drug abuse goes beyond individuals, impacting families, the community, and the nation as a whole through rising crimes, damaged, damaged relationships, and economic setbacks. Addressing drug abuse requires a collective effort from individuals, families, schools, and the government. I therefore hand over to Nancy to handle the recommendations.
Yeah, so I'll take you through the recommendations part. First, avoiding peer pressure and peer influence. One should be assertive regarding their ambitions and decisions. Institutions like schools should start guidance clubs where students learn how to say no to negative peer pressure. Secondly, avoiding unnecessary curiosity. This leads to a lower risk of experiencing, experimenting with, or misusing drugs. We should hold regular talks to show the real dangers of experimenting with drugs. Third, turning to therapy in times of stress. Instead of misusing drugs during stressful times to numb the pain, one should visit a therapist for a safe recovery. The school administrations and hospitals should make sure that the services are easily available for any individual going through stress. Proper research. One should conduct deep research on the information provided in order to have an adequate understanding of the outcomes. Strict enforcement of drug laws. Government and local authorities should enforce existing drug laws on the sales and distribution of illicit drugs and substances, more strictly, especially around schools and areas with young people. This includes arresting illegal vendors and holding suppliers accountable. Number six, rehabilitation support. For those already struggling with drug addiction, programs for the rehabilitation centers are essential to treat the addiction and help individuals rebuild their lives, relationships, and a place in the community afterwards. Number seven, engaging youth in productive activities. Idle time leads to drug experimentation. So, the school and the community should invest in sports, arts, mentorship, programs, and other extracurricular activities to keep young people engaged. Lastly, strengthening parental involvement. Parents should maintain open communication with their children and become involved in their lives to catch early warning signs of uh, drug use. I'll hand it over to our chairperson, Lewis Wanjiku.
So that wraps up our report on drug abuse and substance abuse. We have seen how it starts, why it happens, and the damage it causes to individuals, families, and society as a whole. But we have also seen that it's preventable through awareness, support, and standing firm against pressure. Thank you for watching, and let's all play our part in keeping our community